Hey guys, I'm making this video because I've seen so much bad information put out about what you should do with your finances. Whether it's just someone's opinion that's wrong, or literally people claiming things to be facts that are not actually facts. This includes, people selling ways to get rich quick using buzzwords like you need to build up your passive income and I'm going to tell you how to do it, and once you get to the end of the video you still have no idea how to do it. So the objective of this video is to empower you to be able to accomplish whatever it is you want to be able to accomplish with your money. Whether that's becoming a millionaire, going on a trip to a different country every year, or affording an expensive hobby like race car driving. And as much as I'd love to talk about how people are wrong for telling you what to do with your money, or the misinformation that I've heard specifically given out, and rebut that, I'm going to start with the fundamentals that you need to know. Right, so the first one is called opportunity cost. What that basically means is, what could you have done with money that you instead spent on X, Y, or Z? So, for example, let's say you have $20,000 in cash, and you have a few options of what you could do with it. You could buy a brand new car for 20 grand, or you could invest in a bond that's going to pay you 4% interest. And if you decide to go ahead and spend 20 grand on the car, you've missed out on the opportunity cost of that is the 4% interest that you would have earned if you had put it in the bond. That's just a simple example, but you can apply that to everything that you do with your money. So that's what we're going to talk about, and then we're going to talk about ways to identify how you're spending your money and analyze if that's how you actually want to be spending your money to reach the goals that you have in mind, such as saving your money to become a millionaire, or maybe you're okay with spending your money but you want to go on these frequent trips to countries all over the world. So I want to help you accomplish that. So the first thing you need to do is identify exactly how you're spending your money, how much of it you're spending, and where you're spending it, right? I did this analysis on my own spending by going on to I try and put everything on a credit card, that way I can see a roll-up at the end of the year. American Express, USAA, I'm sure other banks do the same, but they provide you a roll-up of categories of everything you've spent your money on throughout the entire year. And when I first started doing this, I looked at mine and I noticed that I was spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year on food or restaurants, right? Food, restaurants, eating out, and that includes drinks, right, out on the weekends at bars. I was able to cut that in more than half by cooking every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner I cook, and then if I'm going out for drinks, I'll definitely drink at the house first, and then I'll go out and have a few drinks at the bar. And that reduced my spending by $3 grand. That's equivalent to a $3,000 raise in my paycheck for doing literally nothing except eating healthier. I spend less time cooking than I do going out, and obviously it's cheaper, right? So it's beneficial for multiple reasons, not just for my wallet. So maybe you've already identified that eating out is a huge expense, and you can already cut back by cooking in, so that's not relevant for you. But I challenge you to go on to your your bank website and look at your past year's spending, and you'll easily be able to identify what you're spending the most amount of money on. And that's what we want to hone in on, because that's where you can make the smallest amount of change that's going to give you the biggest amount of money back. So whether that's paying rent, you can get roommates, or you can use Airbnb to essentially reduce the amount of rent you're paying. If you have a high car payment, right, especially at a high interest rate, you can get rid of that and purchase a cheaper car or a more reliable car, and hold on to it for 10, 15, 20 years. And that's going to allow you to do something better with the money. And when I say better, I mean more towards what you're trying to do. So once you identify what you're spending your money on and you figure out how to cut it down by maybe 50% or more, you'll be able to have at least an extra $3,000 a year possibly more depending on your income and how your current expenses are. So what we're going to talk about next is what you're able to do with that money. So instead of eating out every night for $10 a meal, you're able to save $3,000 over the course of a year, and you can invest that money to make money back for you. It might not seem like a lot at first, but if you do this every year, especially if you're starting young when you're 18, or if you have a job when you're younger, that's even better, then this will continue to grow and it'll compound on itself. And you'll have compounding interest, and you'll continue to grow this massive amount of wealth. So anytime you purchase something, you just need to ask yourself, what could I have done with this money instead? Or what can I do with this money instead? Right? Every time I eat out at a restaurant, I spend maybe $15 at Chili's or wherever. And it truly pains me to know that those $15 could have fed me dinner for 7 nights in a row. So I'm eating the equivalent of 7 dinners all at once, and it's probably less healthy for me than anything I can cook. I will agree and admit that it does taste better. So that was actually the main point of this video, was to discuss ways to save money, and that by saving money you're actually able to use it to invest it so you can get higher returns on that money than just a meal out or whatever else it is that you're spending your money on. So in my next video I'll discuss what to do now that you've saved the money, what to do with that money to maximize its return. And there's a few different options based on your risk tolerance, as well as based on how quickly you want to be able to access that money. So if you're looking to access it within the next 6 months, you'll probably want to invest it differently than you would if you were planning on not accessing that money for another 30 or 40 years when you retire. But all that's in the next video. If you found this helpful, please follow and subscribe.